bem-vindos à hora do medo. From the darkest places on planet Earth, monsters and creatures are back. Ready to make this night creepier. Their leader is already here. Behind the decks. Don't be afraid. The DJ is...
Alright, guys, this is a brand new show, so that's why it's taking so long to get into it. I'm going to tell everyone thank you for that. I said they were going to show up and join us. I'm DJ Shadow. Welcome to a new concept show that we're trying out for the very first time. I went in to do some research for you guys, and this is called BTMX Halls of Deception. Basically, we're going to be doing reviews on on different videos of footage of paranormal, and we're going to give our reviews. Definitely want to hear you guys' feedback from at home. Sorry about that ding. Everybody on Facebook doesn't get that common sense not to write me during this. So, once again. So we're starting to get this new show off the road. It's called Halls of Deception. We're going to be going over ghost. Basically, we're going to be looking at some videos together. As you see, we're glitchy kind of. Hopefully that fixed throughout the show. But we're also going to be going over old nursery rhymes and actually the truth and the stories behind them. And I'll be giving you guys the facts where I found my facts at, and credit to everybody who's done the research for it too. I just want to bring some of the stuff to, head to light if we keep not having issues. So once again, welcome to our new show. Yeah, I have one job. I know. I have one job. So yeah, this is our new show. We were gonna do Valkyrie's Hour, but unfortunately, we couldn't. So now we're doing Halls of Deception. We're also gonna have people on here from around the world from different horror scenes, who are doing movies and haunted houses and clown court cartels, and a lot of people from the scene. Also for interviews later on this year on the show. So that is right beside me. I'm pretty sure you can scroll on it and interact with it a little bit better than I can. But right there is our actually deviant art page, so you can go to check that out as well. We have a whole bunch of art out there if you guys are interested into it. And maybe you need a project done for you, and BTMX can supply that now. So here we go with Halls of Deception. Big shout out to the very first artist that I actually introduced you to. That was actually the band Casket Robbery with their song Worm Food. And then I took you straight into Becoming the Bully featuring Danny Lee of Upon a Burning Body with the band New Hopes. They're from Kingside Records, guys. Just came out with that. I definitely think you guys could take a look for yourselves. But this show's not about music. How much is music as it is about movies. We're going to do some background on nursery rhymes today, and we definitely want to hear what you guys want us to talk about. And we hear in the subjects of horror. What would you like to know? Like certain things are made, how certain scenes were done. Is there books that you definitely want to do the top 10s on, and etc. So let's go ahead and talk about movies today. We're going to go actually into some of these a lot of people know right offhand. And we're just going to go over quick facts about them and stuff like that. If you have a question, or maybe you know something I don't, definitely want to hear you guys' feedback on that. So the first, I went to GameSpot, which is a really good internet entertainment hub for a lot of things. I will be judging makeup and prosthetics. Talking about that, we're going to have some shorts for that too. That are going to, if you are into this genre and you do your own type of artwork, submit it and we'll put it on the show. If you're in the horror scene and you want something for us to judge or look, also send that in to btmxeast@gmail.com. Also, if you had a paranormal experience yourself, you're caught on camera and you like to have it talked about and assessed, please send it over here to btmxeast@gmail.com once again. So we're going to go back into some movies from older day up till now. The facts behind them, maybe some things that you didn't know. But like I said, the first resource I use for this is no other than GameSpot.com. They are like a really good hub for anything that has to do with entertainment and the facts behind each story. So definitely can't wait to get into this with you guys. And maybe you guys know something more than they do. So I definitely want to hear you guys' feedback on this. So once again, welcome to Halls of Deceptions. We played music, but we're not doing that the whole time. We're not even taking music submissions, so there's no point. So we're going to take you into the movie Deranged that came out in 1974. It was a fiction. A deranged man becomes obsessed with corpses, eventually resorting into creating new ones. This film was subtitled The Confessions of a Necrophilia in the U.S. But the fact was, like so many other horror films of the era, deranged killer Aressa Cobb was based on the murder Ed Gein. If you guys don't know who Ed Gein was, he was really famous for being obsessed with his own mother, even to the fact where after he killed her, he used her skin physically as a suit to, become her, so she would never die. And he did that with a lot of different women throughout the years until he was actually caught, where he would take his victims and skin them, eat what was there, skin them if they were women, and then bring them to life through his own aspects. Very horrendous. I don't think I should suggest you to do that. That's not a quick way to get a girlfriend. But that's what he did. So a lot of movies back then that were around this topic really were based off of Ed Gein's stories and the resources they got that were being given out by the police and news at the time. And people just took the creative aspect to give people more of a visual about what was going on. And for us people who are freaks about horror, we kind of ate it up. And then it just became an overplayed genre type, and then they finally switched it up a couple years later. Because if we're going to go about Ed Gein, a lot of movies that were based around Ed Gein's Seiko that came out in 1960. That was a young woman who was murdered by a motel manager who occasionally cosplays as his dead mother. Once again, that was Ed Gein, but he wasn't just cosplaying. He was actually physically wearing her skin and hair that he preserved. Another movie wrapped around this, right? How horrible Ed Gein was with wearing skin and stuff was actually taking the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The character Leatherface is based around the actual fact of how Ed Gein was with his victims and what he did to them. So remember, a lot of the stories that you guys enjoy, and we're talking about that are still going on now in the process of these movies being remade, is they're glorifying someone who physically mutilated people and animated them in their own mind by wearing their skin like as a fucking suit. Not much difference than people wearing animal furs and stuff like that, but still kind of, why are we glorifying somebody's actions if they were so ill? That's the question. So moving forward. So the hills have eyes. Anybody know exactly what that's about? Where they got the idea for it or the lure? If I will give you guys a couple minutes to answer that in a comment, because I know you guys are a couple seconds behind. So once again, I'm asking if you guys know where they originated the story for the movie Hills Have Eyes that came out in 1976. Let me know in the comments. And I'm going to come back and then let you guys know the right answer. Once again, if you're just joining, this is Halls of Deceptions. Basically, we're going over movies. We're going over where the actual factual stories came from. Before I went mute, I want to see if you guys knew where they came up for the story for The Hills Have Eyes that came out in 1976. So I'm going to give a couple minutes to let you guys respond once again. If nobody responds in a couple minutes, I'm going to go ahead and give you the answer. And once again, I want to give a big shout out to GameSpot.com, who has a lot of information that has anything to do with entertainment, let it be dark or light. So we got video with Hills Have Eyes, a family caught in the atomic testing of the air contaminated by the fallout, and the rest is history. Savage just puts up. I was asking if anybody can actually think of the idea of where they came up with the Hills Have Eyes in 1976. Where do you think they got the story from? All right. I'll give you a couple more minutes and then gotta continue, guys. We got Raven, Chernobyl. I have no clue. So, okay, guys, The Hills of Eyes and its remake counterpart that happened in 2006 is actually a modern retelling of the story of Sonny Bean, who is legend has it. He led a clan of dozens of cannibals, and they had a bad history of This was over in Scotland, about 16th century, where they were killing thousands of people. His whole entire clan was brothers and sisters mingled together, and they were also, they encouraged to be able to eat oncomers. So if you were not lucky in Scotland in the 16th century and you were walking down, how I would say, his block, his family would eat your ass with no problem at all. And that's actually where the Hills of Eyes actually got the story from, was the legend of Shawnee Bean, who was the clan leader, which led to thousands and thousands of unsolved murders and thousands of deaths over to Scotland. And that was back in the 16th century. Once again, Hollywood filmed this, and they brought it back to modern day life. And once again, we're giving credit to a whole group of people who were just going out of their way to, survive, and I guess the way they were taught. So we got some comments over here. We got just sent you my current art project at the Gmail. Judge anyway. All right. So videos over here submitting artwork. We're gonna go over and bring it up for you guys to see. Yeah. So Hill of Eyes was based around something that happened in the 16th century over in Scotland. No matter what make you see, either 1974, 2006, or the newer remake, it's all based around that tribe. Alright, so I'm actually going to take you over to the screen so we can go over here and review Mr. Video's artwork. Bring it up for you, everyone, to see this. Oh, man, that's Alright, let's do this. I'm gonna fix this up a little bit so you guys can see it all. Let's go over here and add a little bit. See, that's not. I like that version of Cheshire Cat, which also Alice has a dark history alone in itself. So definitely, I like that. So we're gonna go on to your next piece. Once again, this is by Video Gothic, guys. I like the paint in his face. It has a lot of expression to it. May I ask what this is supposed to be, like a lantern down in here? Or a type of flower? Just asking. Well, I'm going to make him huge. You're the center star right now. Look at Mad Hatter. May I ask which did you do these with paint or you? Because I like the detail. A little bit shadowing, too much shadow in certain places. Wow, I love the aesthetics of it. And then once that's slick as fuck. His Alice characters makes me want to be like, who? So thank you once again. Today's art that you just got done seeing was done by Video Gothic. So make sure you go keep out. And did you have a DeviantArt page? You can drop your link in the comments below, and I encourage everybody to go check it out. So sorry. Yeah, medicine. So going back into what I was trying to talk to you guys about. So the next movie that we want to talk about, because a lot of these movies are based around the same two killers. It was either Ed Gein, where you wore people's skin and put on the lotion, or you were just somebody's fucking supper because you took the wrong turn. Back in Scotland. I'm like, they chose a perfect town to do that in West Virginia. Like, if you go down some of those fucking hills, you get scared as fuck. There's a dirt road that leads up to a house that looks exactly like that, and they're like, ah. Fuck. Well, he did it on a digital tablet. Well, that's pretty.
I'm jelly.
You can't. Shamir says she's jelly of your shit. She says it's not shit. She's just jelly. She's being posh today. The posh bastard. I blame Kurt and them for that. What I just said. Still hang out with a bunch of people from the UK. You start making fun of people like them. All right, so Eaten Alive came out in 1977. It was the betrayer of a ritual Texas hotel tax victims and feed them to his pet crocodile. These events are actually true. They were actually. This one was actually a remake of before titles such as Death Trap, Horror Hotel, and Starlight Slaughter, where were based on the alligator killer Joe Bell. Bell murdered at least 2 women in the 1930s, and there is rumor he has disposed of the bodies by feeding them to the pet alligators he kept at his bar in Texas. So take a drink and then fatten them up, get them drunk, and feed them to the alligator.
Where'd it go?
I mean, I don't know. Like, it could have not been his fault. He'd be like, "Oh, you want to pet my animals?" And then you know, white women. My wife's one of them. "Oh, I'll pet it," and they're.
Oh, baby. They go to Costco.
But they never said how he killed them. So did he just feed them to him? Like, hey, let them outside, or get them intoxicated to where they became victims? Or was, that I definitely need to look more into details on this. So what do you guys think about what we're learning so far? And what else would you like to learn about? Not going to talk about Amityville horror. If you are in the horror scene, you automatically know what the hell that movie's about. And the lies and perception behind that. Just like a lot of you guys have watched A Nightmare on Elm Street. Especially in the 1984 version, not this newer crap, where we have Mr. Where do you think they got the concept for that story? Where do you think Wes Craven was inspired by to come up with the idea for Freddy Krueger and his concept for the Nightmare on Elm Street in 1984? I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes. Tell me the feedback. Where do you think that Wes Craven back in the 70s and 80s came up with the idea for this movie?
Behind the scenes.
So, infamous Freddy Krueger movie. Where do you think they got the concept from? Anyone? Yeah, Wes Craven was actually inspired by the reports of Asian men that would die in their sleep throughout the 70s and 80s. It was actually so bad that it became a phenomenon that was later labeled Asian death syndrome, where just as soon as they hit teenage, they would die in their sleep. No explanations. Autopsy said everything was fine. They were healthy. They were strong, but still died. That's where Wes Craven came up with the idea for Freddy Krueger. Just like Child's Play, if you guys have been a fan of Child's Play since 1988, then you automatically know that it was actually inspired on a real true story about an actual doll named Robert. Robert, you can actually find, I believe, in a museum right now where people have literally had to go back and apologize to the doll for taking pictures without his permission, and bad things have happened in karma. There's even letters that you'll see posted on the wall asking for forgiveness at the museum. So the next time you're at a scary ass place, respect it while you're around, or you're gonna end up carrying something home that you don't want to. But Robert is a haunted doll that allegedly talks and inspires fits of rage in its young owner. So basically, it takes over who they're with, slowly eating at their mental. Especially back then, a lot of rich people just give kids their toys, and they were on the opposite side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Dad had a huge smoke lounge with all the hose in it. Mom was over there crying with the diamonds from the wine house and the flowers. And the kid had whatever was left, which is normally the top of the house.
Right.
So you stay the fuck up there. I don't know, occasionally a nanny who didn't give a fuck because they were underpaid. I'm just being serious. I gotta think, a lot of these people did not even know what their children were involved in, what they liked or nothing, because it was the nanny that was more of the parent than the parents were.
Yeah, that's true.
They would squirt them out and hand them off. And they call themselves Catholics and Christians. Like, well, I'm parenting. What are you doing, Rebecca? Where's Bobby? That's not his name. Who the fuck is Bobby? And it's not even a boy, it's Becky. You named her. But that was a different time there where people didn't have to be responsible for their children's actions. So, etc. So yeah, that's where child play came from. It's actually around a real doll that is possessed, to be possessed, and then it's actually sitting right now in the West Marlton Museum in the Florida Keys. So if you ever want to go check out Robert to see if what I'm telling you is true, go down to Florida, Key West, over to the Marlowe Museum, and see what answers you get back. Like, what will happen to you if you take this picture without us? Is it true, or is it people just trying to keep this lure alive? To keep, it in the museum. So yeah, I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying what you're finding out, what you're not. We're actually going to do a movie review soon. I have a lot of people that are in the filming business where they don't actually get seen. So you'll be seeing full-out horror movies that are not on big screen and being help us to judge them along the way. So this show's only going to be evolving. This is the very first show, so a lot of things are not going to be, woo! You got video up here with What's Up Savage. So we all know as kids that most of us are scared to go to the dentist, but they actually came out with a horror movie to make this even worse, because us little guys down there watching shit we're not supposed to be on the TV, and your parents are yelling at you. But they actually came out with a movie called The Dentist in 1996. It was aimed on various hallucinations, a sadistic dentist who gets revenge on his cheating wife. But the real story originates from a true story about Dr. Glenn Edward Engelman, a Missouri dentist who over the decades convinced multiple women to marry other men who he would then murder. So what he would do is get them to cheat on him, so he had a reason to go in and do what he had to do to complete his mental psyche. They would also then split the insurance checks. So he would get a whole bunch of women. He would kill certain women that he was adapted to, because I looked into this. He would kill women that he was possessed with that he thought went too far with the men. And then other women, he actually entangled them into his game where he used them as lure to hunt. So imagine you're in a small town. You see this really beautiful woman, you go up and ask her, she wants to marry you. Next thing you know, you have a dentist ripping out your shit. This is why a lot of people are afraid to go to the dentist. This did not help out parents with scary children. I don't understand why none of my team are not watching.
Give them the stuffed animal dog, because when him squeeze at them, would be a wax.
But now they're having a full cover. Alright, so we're just going to continue.
Remember one Tom got scared and him looked up?
What was that? Yeah, more fun to come with funny ways to pull your own teeth out. Yeah, that's actually there's videos I have. We're gonna be reviewing a whole bunch of nasty, scary shit on this place, especially like that kind of weird shit. So did you ever hear the movie called From Hell? It came out in 2001. It was about the infamous Jack the Ripper. You know they never caught Jack the Ripper. But they also know it has to be a doctor, at least because how he did the incisions and they were so clean, everything was properly taken out. It wasn't just a quick kill, huh?
Or that he had access to
Or he had access to the tools.
books and stuff, like to be a doctor, like when he was scanning.
Because a lot of people were self-taught. That would make sense. Self-taught. He could have been abused by women, was broke his psyche. Or he could have been going through school, and a lot of times back then there was a lot of pressure from the family. Dad could have died because of war or famine, and then mom was so much harder on the son because the son was then responsible what the father had to take care of. So he probably had to give up his own pursuit of medical. I mean, there could have been so many reasons, but he was a vicious bastard. He went out and killed a lot of people. Yet he was the only serial killer that they never caught, or have any more details about to go into exactly who Jack the Ripper was. I think Jack the Ripper was just a name they came up with real quick, and I don't even think that it was London Yard that actually came up with the name for him. I actually just think it was somebody who was in the media at the time, had to give them something so they could put it in the paper. Savage goes on, heard of it, not watched it yet. There's more evidence about Jack the Ripper. It was the guy from the U.S. The dude that had the murder hotels. Well, that's kind of, I get where a lot of people are speculating that. But at the same time that this was happening was years before the motel was even discovered. I think he might have been a copycat killer, or they could have learned the ways from. The person who's Jack the Ripper could have been the teacher. There was, throughout history, there has been this progress where older gentlemen who are not getting away with this and who were really into this passed on their ways to younger children. This guy could have, the original Jack the Ripper could have adopted the gentleman or brought the gentleman in who had the hotels, the murder hotels, and taught him his ways. Could be the reason why they're connected in so many different forms. Because if you look at the way he did the kills inside the murder hotels, there was some type of unprofessionalism to him to a certain standard compared to when Jack the Ripper was killing him. And he was just mostly in alleys. We got Video Gothic. So many theories, even though one of the Duke who didn't want to have his exploits exposed. Yeah. So, Jack the Ripper is one of those hard card cases, so they can't really pinpoint who it is. You can't really say it. Because a lot of people also say that Jack the Ripper has an involvement in Edgar Allan Poe's death. Which, once again, I hardly doubt that relates. But, everyone's entitled to a theory. So maybe we should look into this as you guys being part of the BTMX family. And question this. Maybe we can get better answers. Also, feel free to let me know in the comments what you guys think we should also add to this show to keep you guys, more information. Savage Ghost, no, they opened it back up a couple of years ago. The U.S. guys relevant opened it again. So we're gonna go on to the next. Everybody knows about Jeffrey Dahmer, that motherfucker. He wasn't that great in school. He was smart though. He studied psychology. He was able. You couldn't tell this man was doing what he was doing to all these women and other people with just looking at him. He had a smile. He had this face that would just capture you. He knew how to talk to people to persuade them. So he was definitely, out of all the killers, I think Jeffrey Dahmer should have been the most feared. You got Video Gothic. He even made it into Star Trek. So, guys, have you ever heard of the movie called Wolf Creek? 2000 came out in 2005. So, if you guys have never heard of Wolf Creek, that came out in 2005, there was three backpackers on a hunt, are hunted by a madman through the Australian outback. This is actually based off of true encounters. The writer and director Greg McLean said Wolf Creek was based on three separate real-life stories of serial killers. Ivan Malin, a.k.a. the backpacker killer who murdered backpackers in the 90s. Bradley Murdoch, who allegedly tried to kidnap a woman after murdering her boyfriend. And the Snowtown Murders, a series of 11 gruesome murders carried out by 4 men and 1 woman in the small town of Snowtown in the South Australia. So they took a whole bunch of murders that happened, and they're how they concluded together, and came out with Wolf Creek. It came out in 2005. Basically, it's also, if you think about it, it's based on that book where humans were being hunted. You were either the hunter or the prey, and like newer movies we're now basically giving that a strong woman lead and making her the victor, so she's no longer prey, but now she's the one hunting. Another good movie that references acts like this would be Hostel. If you guys haven't looked at the Hostel series, there's a lot of them. We can look into them. I think my wife will agree with me. The best Hostel we watched was one where they were about to kill it, and you pay to torture and kill people. There was a young girl they captured to do this too, and then she ended up having more money than the guy that was going to do it to her, and she ended up getting his ass. So the whole hunter or prey thing, where the prey becomes, the hunter, and the hunter then loses all control and becomes the prey. This concept's been going on for generations. Different stories, different cultures, but there's a lot of similarities to the facts of this throughout history. So if you're traveling in Australia, remember to keep your eyes open all the time. Someone with you when you're in Snowtown in South Australia. So you guys think about what we're talking about so far. We're about to be switching up topics in just a moment. I'm going in some videos and we're reviewing it together. Is it really paranormal? Is it just the act? Maybe it's a CGI or AI nowadays? We'll be able to figure that out. I want to hear you guys more conversation on that. But we're going to talk about one more movie. This movie is called The Strangers. It came out in 2008. Has anybody seen it? Maybe not. I'll give you guys a couple minutes. Alright, so the movie The Strangers. It's a couple that is harassed in their home by a group of masked intruders. Basically, these people are like they're a family coming into your house and sitting your ass down on the couch and torture you in their own little sadistic way. This was actually based off a true story. The beloved slasher was inspired by 3 separate sources: a personal experience of a writer and director, Brian Burritos, in which strangers knocked on his door while his parents were away. He later found out they were responsible for break-ins in the area. The Manson family murders, in which followers of the infamous killer Charles Manson murdered 5 people in a home invasion, including actress Sharon Tate, and the Kitty Cabin murders, which involved a woman and her children staying at a remote resort in California. So The Strangers was based on 2 different counts. You gotta remember when Manson was going around having his followers, they did a whole bunch of devious shit. to a lot of innocent people. I think there's actually to this day still things that are coming up that that man and his cult actually done to a lot of people. Just not as public as the famous people who were a part of it. So if you want to look into the Manson killings and what they actually did, I think that's, if you're into this type of stuff, I would look at a little bit deeper, because there's a lot more than just the ones that they're saying. So we're gonna go out of movies into Alright, so we're going to go into some ghost accounts. We're going to enjoy these together. I'm going to be quiet through them, and then we're going to stop and review them. Alright, so here we go. Got to line it just up, right? Oh, maybe not. So you guys can see everything. We don't want you to miss anything. Alright. So here we go. This is encounters that people are saying that they experience with the paranormal. I'm going to play a scene, and then I'm going to stop it, and then we're going to talk about it. Is it real? Is there something going on? What should we take an account for that, help whatever happened?
So for today's drink,
Alright, guys. I'm going to be honest. I think there was somebody playing around the curtain. Maybe the wind blew at the wrong time. What do you guys think? Do you think that it was something paranormal happening? Or do you think that maybe she should have her fucking door closed and she just creeped herself out? And then, like I said, you could have just dressed dark. It's not hard to catch somebody out on video nowadays. But I don't want to discredit it. Once again, this is a big shout out to 7 News Australia. This is actually where I'm getting this data from, and check them out as well. So once again, that was 7 News Australia, and we're doing paranormal caught in camera, deciding if it's real or fake. I'm gonna play the scene one more time if you guys are just joining, to go ahead and give your thoughts.
so for today's drink,
To me, it looks like maybe an animal crawled up in the curtain and jumped off. But that could be just me. I definitely want to hear what you guys think. So video says it looks like a bird or a squirrel. You can see it hit and fall. Yeah, so like I said, you think it's an animal as well. What else do you... Anybody else have any thoughts? Or you guys savage for thinking it's fake? Alright, so we're going to continue on. So now both these accounts are saying that they caught, you see an apparition. That could have been, I don't know. I don't know if that's wind or not. You see something visible, but you don't really see it. But that could have not just been, automatically a ghost. It could have been residual energy, especially if that's around, especially in the country. You don't know a lot of the history behind the land that people own. So a lot of energy is left behind does not automatically mean it's somebody dead. It could have been just somebody reliving their life through a past, and we're just seeing into the vortex. So video got this says camera glitch, low resolution goofiness, win for the lady one. All right, we're just gonna continue. Yeah, well, that would be creepy as shit, I have to say. I would fucking pick up that baby, run the fuck out of the house, and burn down the house. Right there, guys. Time to move. Look, Bigfoot.
Now, you're not going to want to miss any of this video because there are parts throughout the entire video that show visuals of I can't explain, he can't explain. There's audio of noises from something.
Eric!
I want this to be worry-free. Today, I will be creating
What is that? That sound. Back over there.
Honestly, all you hear is that motherfucker's nostrils, but that's up to you guys.
That used to be the trail right there. That's the trail that you're supposed to take.
Looks like we have a lot of bones. A lot of hair. I would say these are probably from deer. Several of them. Ripped apart. Looks like they're ripped apart pretty good. So after seeing the bones and everything, we decided to continue down to the cave, the Hozak's cave. We had gotten permission to be able to actually fly a drone out at the park as long as we stayed away from any of the public areas like the lodge or cabins or, you know, even the campgrounds. And the sounds that you're going to hear next are absolutely bone-chilling. Now the sounds of the leaves rustling, that's us moving around trying to pinpoint the exact location where the sounds are coming from. Now at this point, I decided to take the drone up. I adjusted the settings on the camera to make the lights light and the darks really dark, to try to get anything to stand out. So the picture's not that pretty, but we're trying to pinpoint what's making these sounds, see if we could see anything at all. And we actually do, and we're going to slow it down and show it a couple times, and I don't know, you guys be the judge of it.
Before we go any further than this, for one, if you're going to present evidence of Bigfoot, have you noticed none of them are a clear fucking view? Like, all of a sudden the camera went shitty. But it's perfect the whole entire time up to the time you need it. So, this is what I've noticed about a lot of footage when it comes to the subject. That none of it can be accountable, none of it can help you progress in proving that, you know, this being does exist or doesn't exist. So it's still up in the air. For the sounds that are in the cave, for one, that could have been a lot of different things, especially if that cave is tied into a lot of different caverns. That could have been air hitting rocks just the right way, moving through the system. It could have been like Like it was said in here earlier, could have been wolves on actually somewhere else with inside the park, especially if the caverns are tied in, the echo effect. And then they were talking about how the bones were ripped apart. Them did not look ripped apart. It looked like they had gradual decay. It just looked like that was a dumping site where people were trying to capture most likely not capture wildlife, but videotape them. So that's why that bones didn't look ripped apart at all. What they showed of the bones, it looked like it was just regular decay. I could see if there was like blood or meat around on the ground, but there wasn't. It was all mossed over and stuff like that. So I definitely want to go with the decay part. So I would not use this as evidence saying that this does exist. And then he said he fucked with the coloring on the camera, which now he's trying to say that this dot that you're seeing between the trees is something, and that could have been so many different things. It could have been a bobcat up in the tree, especially with it being fall. It could have been a mass pile up of leaves that just darkened and were damp. It could have been a nest. Bears do climb that high. It could have been a lot of things, but I don't think it was Bigfoot. I got talks, so it could have been a cougar. Good point. And turkeys actually hide up in trees too. I mean, so here we go. See if it gets better. That doesn't look like jack shit. But
Hi, I'm Kevin Roach. I'm a professor here at CSC. I am going to be
getting back into it, guys.
So I want to hurry up and try to land the drone so it doesn't get caught up in the snow because it's not waterproof. And we're gonna hike back to where we think we saw something. And
I know.
see if we can't catch it on our actual cameras up close.
That looks like a dude in a hunting suit.
It's the Ohio grass man. Look. Look at it. It's not a person.
Before we go any further, that looks like a guy in a hunting suit. That could have been Uncle Bob or Tom going to the beer shack through the woods. I mean, that does not look like Bigfoot. He could have had big feet. A lot of guys had big feet and shit. That could have been a big woman in a big fucking suit. You know, country bunking out there. You got Savage said it's you, Panda. It's me, DJ Shadow. Whoops. No, but there's a picture. I got a picture of Bigfoot in the woods for everyone to see if he keeps. Savage wants them to see it. God damn it, Uncle. Y'all that shown it's fine. Got Toxic in here bringing some. It's Bob. But now, what do you guys think? Do you think that was legit video that's gonna make you smack your mother in the face and say that they do exist? Or you're like, what the fuck is that? Not really much evidence. I hate to say, if I was literally hunting something like this, I would chase after it. With the camera. Live. For one. And two, if I can't do it live, I'm beating that fucker with a club. So I can bring it back. To prove to everybody that I was telling the truth, I would bring back physical evidence like a head, a horn. Why is your asshole burnt? Try to get that dragon. I'm going back tomorrow. Who's coming with me? So we are going to be doing some more paranormal stuff around here too. We actually got a legend that goes around where I personally live called the Hatchet Man. I actually know where the location of the house was and stuff, so we're going to be looking into that. It's actually, we're going to be doing a little bit of that for you guys too on live streams and lock-ins. Big shout out to the people that are helping to sponsor some of that. So we're going to be doing a lot of things all over Ohio into Pennsylvania, and then if the money's good, we'll keep doing it on. That will be a part of this show, especially. But yeah, definitely, guys. Thank you for your first time being part of the show. Let me know your thoughts if you think that that video was legit to you. Also, guys, if you have had a paranormal experience you captured on camera, do me a favor, send it over here. Also, if you guys do horror art and you want to see it on our show, send it. So this show is normally going to be 2 hours long. I don't understand why I clicked on that for you guys. You guys can't hear me. Button smasher today, ain't I? But you guys can interact. Go over, check us out at DeviantArt at BTMX Art. Check out what we have for you guys also in there. But this show is going to be every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you want to see more of. What movies that you want reviewed. If you are a filmmaker that wants your part of the horror scene, definitely let us know. We'll make your movie a part of this. And definitely want to see where you guys want us to take the show. So a big thank you to everyone that's been a part of it. We're going to go ahead and let you go. And remember, BTMX will be back tomorrow live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time with our me and Sean Kudo for our show Unleashing the Best. If you like rap and hip hop, make sure you go check out all the events on BTMX. That is our shows all week long. We do have another new show coming out for you. It's going to be more interesting than this. And hopefully you guys enjoyed yourselves. Bye-bye.